I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's up, Frontier? We're here with the good news this week. Tuesday, April 7th, the United States and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire on the current war. So this is pretty good news for now. Hey, Frontier, I'm here with an Iran update as of today, Thursday, April 9th. 2 days ago, on April 7th, the U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire of hostile action between the two nations. They also agreed with this ceasefire to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, a very valuable passageway into and out of the Middle East. However, only a few ships have been allowed passage through this strait. Despite these agreements, Israel has continued its campaign into Lebanon as they are not considered part of this deal. Make sure to stay updated every day because things are changing quickly. Thank you, Frontier.
Recently, bald eagles have completely rebounded in the United States from around 400 nesting pairs in the 1960s to 2000s to nearly 300,000 bald eagles in the U.S. after banning pesticides like DDT. Thank you, Frontier.
Hey, Frontier. April 1st, Artemis 2 took off. This was a planned 10-day trip to the moon, and it was basically a test run to see if we can safely fly to the moon. This was done by NASA, and this is the first time it's been done in 50 years. Thank you, Frontier.
Hey, why don't you use AI more often? Well, isn't it destroying the environment? Isn't it making us dumber? And wasn't it made by stealing from countless writers and artists? And isn't it taking people's jobs? And isn't it becoming so realistic that it's messing with our fabric of reality? Then no, I think I'm good.
well, you should probably just embrace the new technology.
Is we have to clarify that the current incentives take us to an anti-human future where most people won't have a job or livelihoods. When in history have a small group of people consolidated all of the wealth and then consciously distributed it to everyone else?
And it's not like the billionaires and soon-to-be trillionaires are unaware of this.
No.
They're all building bunkers. And so what we keep saying is that don't build bunkers.
They're building bunkers?
Yeah, write laws.
We should not have 8 soon-to-be trillionaires deciding the future for 8 billion people. Instead, we need to have 8 billion people say, no, we don't want that anti-human future, and we want to steer somewhere else.
Welcome back to the Weekly Weather Frontier. On Monday, it's going to be a high of 70, partially cloudy with scattered showers. On Tuesday, it's going to be a high of 84, partially cloudy. On Wednesday, it's going to be a high of 78 with scattered showers. On Thursday, it's going to be raining with a high of 61. And ending the week off, there's going to be a high of 62 on Friday, partially cloudy. Hope you had a good week, Frontier.
Frontier, you've probably seen some crazy gas prices in the war in Iran and wondered, what could I do to change things? Well, ever heard of voting? It's pretty important and there's a chance you could vote. Voting affects a lot in the world, and you can be part of the impact. Although gas prices, wars, the economy, and many other concerning things get affected by voting, so does a lot of the local politics here. We currently have a very tough budget year ahead of us, and a lot will be getting affected, unfortunately. Senior centers, emergency medical services, police, health insurance, real estate and personal property taxes, and our school's budget. Well, lucky for you, Frontier is going to have a student council-run voter registration drive for the 18-year-olds at our school. And great news, if you're going to be 18 by the election day for your local town, you can register. It's happening on Monday, the 13th, during C Block, so make sure to come by and register.
Yo, Frontier, welcome back to the Jazzy Music Reviews. Today we're going to be doing My Side of the Mountain by DJ Lucas. This album dropped November 30th of 2025. It's a 17-song album spanning over 45 minutes long. My favorite songs in the album are Rep the West, Poet Laurent, and DJ That's My Name. And overall, you know, I went to a DJ Lucas concert last week, and his music is so fire. If you haven't tapped in, you gotta tap in. And shout out Eric Yell, because that concert was one of my favorite concerts I've ever gone to. And you know, overall in that album though, it's some heat. If you haven't checked it out, I think DJ Lucas is one of the best out of the Amherst area, or the 413, he likes to say. And you know, overall, I give it a 9.45, 999, 989 out of 10. Thank you, Frontier.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Let's talk about film. Minority Report, released in 2002, was directed by Steven Spielberg. This was based on a story from 1956 by Philip K. Dick, the man who also wrote Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep?, which is the story that Ridley Scott used as the foundation for Blade Runner. Philip was known for being a science fiction writer, and Spielberg isn't a stranger to the genre, and this wouldn't be his last time making sci-fi films. This year, Disclosure Day will be released in theaters on June 12th, so be sure to check that out. Now, Minority Report follows a pre-crime unit that uses psychic tech in 2054 to prevent crime from happening. And our lead protagonist, Tom Cruise, ends up on the chopping block as someone who is to commit murder in the future, and he must prove his innocence in less than 36 hours. If there's something this movie is notable for, it's again the bleach bypassing method to make a movie appear dark and gritty. This movie is very neo-noir, and at times reminds me of I, Robot, just not as sketchy with its special effects. Spielberg was inspired by The Maltese Falcon and The Big Sleep, two very popular noir films from the 40s. These two movies are also very good, and I recommend you check them out. But despite the story being written in the 50s, Spielberg was able to capture its gross and decrepit feeling. This was a story that felt like the whole world was the enemy, not one specific individual. The rugged houses, the elevated lifestyle, it all feels very relevant. Now, I'm not much of a Tom Cruise fan, but this is probably one of my favorite roles from him. His frantic and panicked demeanor as the main character adds to the anxiety and chaos of this film. This is a movie where you'll see some of the best acting from him, and I mean it. What I appreciate a lot is its unintentional nod to a very similar story, LA Confidential, a movie I've discussed before, but its themes of corruption, drugs, and betrayal can't be missed. The only difference is that Minority Report doesn't exactly follow the cool detective who smokes and talks like they're from the 50s. At times, noir films can be comedic, but this plot is far from that. The last thing I'll say is the score, which is of course done by John Williams, who is responsible for literally doing every single score. And he'll actually be returning with Spielberg for Disclosure Day. This movie is PG-13 and has a runtime of 2 hours and 25 minutes.